The rain hammered against the windows of the Grand Meridian Hotel as Marcus Chun stood in the lobby, water dripping from his worn jacket onto the marble floor. He looked nothing like the billionaire tech mogul whose face graced magazine covers. Tonight he was just another man seeking shelter from the storm, his designer shoes replaced with scuffed sneakers, his tailored suits traded for thrift store clothes. This was his experiment, his desperate attempt to find something real in a world that had become suffocatingly fake. The concierge glanced up from his desk, his expression shifting from professional courtesy to barely concealed disgust. Marcus approached slowly, clutching the last $20 bill in his pocket. Money he'd saved from selling his watch to a pawnshop earlier that week. He'd left everything behind, his penthouse, his cars, his bank cards, wanting to experience life as those without privilege did. What he'd found was loneliness deeper than anything he'd known in his gilded cage. "I need a room," Marcus said quietly, his voice hoarse from days of sleeping rough. The concierge looked him up and down, his lip curling. "Sir, I think you've mistaken this establishment for a shelter. We have standards here." He didn't even try to hide the contempt in his voice. Marcus felt the familiar sting of rejection he'd experienced countless times over the past month. As a wealthy man, doors had opened before he could knock. Now, as someone who appeared to have nothing, those same doors slammed in his face. He nodded slowly, turning to leave when a soft voice stopped him. "Wait." A young woman in a maid's uniform emerged from the service corridor, her eyes kind despite the exhaustion etched into her features. She couldn't have been more than 25, with dark hair pulled back in a simple ponytail and hands reddened from endless hours of work. "Miguel? He's a guest." "We treat all guests with respect," the concierge scoffed. "Elena, look at him. He probably can't afford a single night here." Elena walked closer, ignoring her colleague's protest. She studied Marcus not with judgment but with genuine concern. "Are you hungry?" she asked simply. The question broke something inside Marcus. No one had asked him that in weeks. No one had cared. His eyes welled with unexpected tears and he nodded, unable to speak. "Come with me," Elena said, leading him past the scandalized concierge toward the staff room. She sat him down at a small table and brought him leftovers from the kitchen, a still warm plate of food that might have been destined for the trash. As Marcus ate, she sat across from him, sipping coffee during what was clearly her only break in a double shift. "What's your story?" she asked gently. Marcus had told no one the truth during his weeks on the street. But something about Elena's eyes, the way she looked at him like he was a human being worthy of dignity, made him want to be honest. "I had everything once," he began. "Money, success, people around me constantly. But I realized I didn't know if any of it was real. I didn't know if anyone saw me or just what I could give them. So I walked away to find out who I really was and what the world was really like." Elena listened without interrupting, without judgment. When he finished, she smiled sadly. "And what did you learn? That the world can be cruel. That most people judge you by what you appear to have rather than who you are. That I've been incredibly lonely." He paused, looking at her directly. "But I also learned that kindness still exists. That some people like you see others not as opportunities or obstacles but as human beings." Elena's eyes glistened. "I know what it's like to feel invisible," she said softly. "I work 3 jobs to send money home to my family. People look through me every day like I'm part of the furniture. But my mother taught me that we're all struggling with something, and the least we can do is be kind." They talked for hours that night, long after Elena's shift ended. She offered him her couch, refusing to let him return to the streets. Over the following weeks, Marcus found himself transformed not by wealth or success, but by genuine human connection. Elena never asked for anything, never treated him as a project or a charity case. She simply saw him, and in being seen, Marcus finally understood what he'd been missing all along. When Marcus finally revealed his true identity, explaining that he needed to return to his life but wanted to do so differently, Elena was shocked but not awed. "Money doesn't change who you are inside," she said. "It just amplifies it. You were always this person." "You just forgot." Marcus made many changes after that night. He reformed his company's policies, ensuring fair wages and dignity for all employees. He established foundations for service workers and homeless individuals. But more importantly, he remained in Elena's life, not as a benefactor but as a friend, someone who had been transformed by her simple act of seeing his humanity when everyone else saw only a burden. Years later, standing at Elena's wedding as she married a teacher she'd met at night school, Marcus realized that the greatest fortune anyone could possess wasn't in bank accounts or stock portfolios. It was in the connections we forge, the kindness we show, and the courage to see others as they truly are. Elena had given him that gift when he had nothing else, and in doing so, she'd given him everything that truly mattered. The rain still fell outside, but inside, surrounded by love and authentic connection, Marcus finally felt at home.